Good evening, everybody. I welcome you to today's session of our Roznama. And again, without wasting any time, we will quickly begin with the news that is important for today. Okay. Now, this particular piece of news relates to, it is a continuation of some time back when the United States of America had put an additional tariff on India. Okay. Now, again, going back to the entire idea of reciprocal tariff that the US president has brought in only to make America great again. All right. Now, under his entire ideology of reciprocal tariff, Donald Trump had announced a minimum or base tariff of 10%. So he said that 10% tariff will be implemented on everybody. Then he announced a reciprocal tariff where he said that as much tariff that any other country is implementing on USA, the same rate of tariff USA is also going to reciprocate on that country. So under reciprocal tariffs, India was put a tariff of 25% was implemented on India. Then just 1 month back, 1 or 2 months back, the US president said that because India is taking or buying or importing large quantities of oil from Russia, India is indirectly supporting the Russia-Ukraine war and taking the side of Russia. All right. So he said that because India is buying so much of oil from Russia, India will be, put under an additional 25% tariff. Okay. So India was a total of 50% tariff was imposed on India. But yesterday, Scott Bessent, the US Treasury Secretary, he said that after putting in 25% extra tariff, India has, there has been a significant downfall in the total amount of imports of Russian oil that India is taking from Russia. So he said that because there is a downfall of total Russian imports to India, there may be chances of reduction or removal of this 25% additional tariff on India. Okay. This particular news piece says this. So keep this in mind. Keep the ideas. What are the terms that you have to keep in mind? MAGA. You have to keep in mind reciprocal tariffs. You have to keep in mind that under the reciprocal tariffs, India was initially imposed a tariff of 25%. Then an additional 25% tariff was put in because US said that India imports Russian oil and taking cue from that. Now, because of this additional tariff, US says that India's imports have significantly reduced. So these tariffs may be removed in the near future. Okay. The next piece of news today is 25th of January, and 25th of January we celebrate in India as National Voters Day. Okay. Why do we celebrate this day as National Voters Day? Because it was on this date, 25th of January 1950, that the Election Commission of India was formed. Election Commission of India is a constitutional body, the provision of which has been given under Part 15 of the Constitution from Articles 324 to Articles 320 to Article 329. Article 324 calls for the direction, control and superintendence of election to be undertaken by an election commission for India. So it indirectly provides for the establishment of the Election Commission of India. Okay. Now this year it is the 16th National Voters Day. So naturally this tells us that India has been celebrating or commemorating Voters Day since 2011. Okay. So please keep in mind 2011, and this year the theme is My India, My Vote. मैं भारत हूँ. So My India, My Vote is the theme this year of the National Voters Day. All right. Then also you have to keep in mind the first Chief Election Commissioner of India. Now, who is the Chief Election Commissioner? The Election Commission of India is supposed to be a multi-member body, and this multi-member body was given a permanent structure in the year 1993. All right, before 1993, the Election Commission of India was only a single member body. That is, it consisted only of the Chief Election Commissioner. Then in 1989, for a temporary period of 1 year, the Election Commission of India was made a multi-member body, that is a 3-member body. This was done in 1989. Why? Because in 1988, we got the 61st Constitution Amendment Act, and this 61st Constitution Amendment Act lowered the voting age in India from 21 to the present age of 18. Okay, so naturally there was increased work for the Election Commission of India. So to aid the Chief Election Commissioner, two additional election commissioners were added. So it was a temporary addition for 1 year. It was again made a single member body in 1990. Then permanently in 1993, the Election Commission of India was made a permanently 3-member or a multi-member body. So the first Chief Election Commissioner of India was Sukumar Sen. The present one is Gyanesh Kumar. Okay. What you have to look into is the first female Chief Election Commissioner of India. Look into it and tell me the answers in the comment box. Okay. All right. Other than this, another thing that you have to keep in mind, that this Chief Election Commissioner and the election commissioners are appointed for a period of 5 years or 5 years. And also you have to keep in mind that these are appointed on the recommendation of a committee, a 3-member committee, which is to be inclusive of the Chief Justice, which is to be inclusive of the Prime Minister, a Union Cabinet Minister, and the leader of opposition of the Lok Sabha. Previously, the Union Cabinet of Minister was not a part of this 3-member committee. It was the Chief Justice of India was a part of it, but then this provision was changed, and presently the 3-member committee includes or consists of the Prime Minister, leader of opposition of the Lok Sabha, and anyone Union Minister. All right. Another thing about the Election Commission of India that you have to keep in mind is the present SIR, or the Special Intensive Revision of Electoral Rolls, that is being undertaken in the country. There have been protests against the exclusion of certain members, because the election under the revision exercise, the onus to get yourself included in the electoral roll lies on the voter and not on the Election Commission. This has drawn stark criticism from the opposition parties, from a number of states where the opposition parties rule, like West Bengal, etc. And for the SIR exercise, the Election Commission of India has outlined around 11 to 12 various identity proofs. Okay. All right. Then coming to the next piece of news, if this particular news piece was basically because a few days back, there were certain appointments and there were certain transfer that were made of Madhya Pradesh High Court judges. All right. Now, when this particular transfer was made, the central government issued directions to the Supreme Court or the collegium, saying that they should rethink over the transfer of the High Court judge. And when they were directed, basically they were just advised to rethink, the collegium changed the transfer. And while changing the transfer, they did say that this particular change has been undertaken after the central government gave a suggestion to the collegium. All right. So because this particular speech or this particular announcement was done by the court, this particular Justice Ujjal Bhuyan, he said that if the judiciary itself is going to abide by the orders or suggestions given by the central government, such a practice is going to draw attention to the fact that maybe the judiciary in the country is not an independent judiciary. Okay? And if the judiciary is not an independent judiciary or is not functioning like an independent judiciary, then this is going to again draw attention to the fact that the basic structure of the constitution doctrine is not being followed. Okay? Now, what is this basic structure of the constitution doctrine? This particular basic structure concept was given by the 1973 landmark judgment case of Keshwanand Bharti. Under this particular case, the Supreme Court had said that any change or amendment in the constitution can be undertaken so long it, or any activity, policy making in the country can be undertaken so long the basic structure of the constitution that is not tampered with. All right. Now, when we look at this, independent judiciary is also a basic structure of the constitution. What is an independent judiciary? An independent judiciary simply implies a judiciary which has a mind of its own, which works without any influence, direction, or control of the members of the executive and the legislature. The purpose of ensuring an independent judiciary is so that the judiciary can ensure that the principles of justice are upheld in the country, and also the executive and the legislature may be kept in check in case they don't follow the basic principles of welfare and democracy. Okay. So now he's drawn attention of the people here that if on the advice of the central government, the court is changing its stance as to transfer of any particular judge from one high court to another, this draws our attention to the fact that maybe the judiciary is not an independent judiciary in the country. Okay. So this is a good article which gives you the opinion of Justice Ujjwal Bhuyan and says that how is it very, very important to maintain independence of the judiciary. Okay. And also keep in mind that whenever it comes to transfer of judges, appointment of judges, promotions, etc. of judges from high courts to Supreme Courts, etc., all of this is undertaken in the country through the judiciary itself and through a collegium system. Okay. Now, this collegium system is a collegium means a college or a group of judges who basically take decisions on in terms of transfer, appointment, promotions, etc. of judges. And also you must keep in mind that this collegium system is nowhere mentioned in the constitution. It has been drawn from various judicial verdicts and cases. All right. So we have three such cases, which is known as the three judges case, and it was the third judges case of 1998, which resulted in the final evolution of the collegium system. Okay. And since 1998 till today, the transfer, appointments and promotions of judges are undertaken through a collegium system provision. All right. Temporarily, the collegium system was done away with through the 99th Constitution Amendment Act that was brought in 2014 and was named as NJAC. An authority was established known as NJAC, which is National Judicial Appointments Committee. And it was said that this committee is going to recommend appointments, transfer, etc. of judges. And this committee was to consist of members like Union Minister of Law and also certain other eminent jurists who were to be nominated on the recommendation of the Prime Minister and Leader of Opposition of the Lok Sabha. So when we are including members of the executive, like Leader of Opposition, like the Prime Minister, like the Union Minister, then naturally again the basic principle of an independent judiciary is being hindered. So NJAC was declared as unconstitutional and scrapped through the fourth judges case of 2015, just 1 year later. Okay, so this is something that you must keep in mind. All right. Then coming to the next one. Okay, so 2-3 days back, I did tell you all that Bangladesh had pitched in that they are unwilling to play the T20 World Cup matches in India, and this T20 World Cup is being co-hosted by India and Sri Lanka. So Bangladesh suggested that their matches should be scheduled in Sri Lanka. I see, and why Bangladesh was unwilling to play the match in India was because they cited that their players might have security threats in India. So ICC rejected this demand of Bangladesh, and they said that Bangladesh players will have no security threats in India, and all matches will be scheduled in India and they will not be scheduled in Sri Lanka. And they also said, ICC also said, that in case Bangladesh does not relent, then Bangladesh will be removed from the T20 World Cup series and will be replaced by Scotland. So Bangladesh did not stoop down, did not bow out, and therefore Bangladesh has been replaced by Scotland. All right. Also, just a few hours back, there was another news piece which did say that Pakistan might also take the same route as Bangladesh, saying that Pakistan might also be unwilling to play the matches in India. And before Pakistan could do so, ICC has already issued warnings as to implementing sanctions on Pakistan if Pakistan does something similar. Okay. Then coming to the another news piece for today, important one. Now, yesterday I told you that Donald Trump has threatened Iran with an armada. Armada meaning a massive fleet of warships to be sent to Iran. Why? Because the people in Iran are naturally protesting against the rule of the Ayatollah or the supreme leader, and they do not wish to remain under such an oppressive regime. The army of the Ayatollah, that is Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, they have undertaken massive suppression of the protesters, whereby a large number of protesters have actually lost their lives. So US has threatened Iran with a war. So in retaliation, Iran has also said that Iran is not scared of any such threats that US is extending towards Iran, and Iran forces are absolutely ready to fight any armada that may come to in their way. The next one, now 2-3 days back when we were doing the entire Davos summit, and where I did take up an entire editorial where the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, did issue a massive, did give a beautiful speech where he talked about that the middle powers should join hands, and they should come out and about and against the entire neo-imperialism that is being undertaken by United States of America. Neo-imperialism meaning that you don't outrightly practice colonialism, you don't outrightly capture countries and territories for the sake of expansion of territory, but you do it under the pretext of some other concern, like maybe security concern, etc. So USA recently had this entire Operation Absolute Resolve in Venezuela, where US said that Venezuela is like the hub of narco-terrorism, drug cartels, etc. Also, US is laying claims on Greenland, saying that Greenland is important for USA's security concern. So naturally, he said he opposed neo-imperialism, the Prime Minister of Canada, and also went ahead to strike pacts, trade pacts with other countries, specifically China. And everybody knows that the relationship between China and US is not that great. So because the Canadian Prime Minister has struck a trade deal with China, and this trade deal mostly centers around undertaking a trade in terms of new computer based import exports, etc., new AI based import exports, etc. So US has threatened 100% tariffs on Canada in case the deal between China and Canada materializes. So USA has this tariff threat as the only major threat that it can actually issue to other countries in case somebody or some country does something which is against the whims and fancies of the beautiful President of America, Donald Trump. Okay. All right. Then coming to the editorial pieces for today. The first one, a very good article. Please make sure that you go into details with this particular article. Now, this article talks about one basic announcement that a few days back was in news, where because now we have the 18th BRICS summit, that is being that will be held this year, and the chairperson of the 18th BRICS summit is India. So a few days back, India did unveil the BRICS logo, which was a lotus of 8 petals with the Namaste in the center. And because India is going to be the chair of it, so the Reserve Bank of India, the central bank, has pitched this idea to the BRICS chair, saying that India should pitch in the idea of trade amongst the BRICS countries in a central bank digital currency. Okay, the term is central bank digital currency. What is the purpose of this? Now, last year and last year, since 1 or 2 years, whenever the BRICS and the SCO countries are meeting for their annual summits, they do talk about a term which is known as de-dollarization. Okay, they talk about things like de-dollarization. What is the de-dollarization of trade? Okay, now what is de-dollarization of trade? What they imply by this is that the BRICS countries, the SCO countries, and the global world order in general should try to do away with the global trade dependence on dollar. They are calling for the countries to unite and undertake trade amongst themselves with their own currencies, which could be central bank digital currencies rather than dollar. So this will reduce their dependence on dollar and also will somehow, lower the negative effects of entire tariff nonsense and such things that the present president of US tries to impose on other countries. Okay, so this article basically talks about the pitching in of the use of digital currencies for cross-border payments by the Reserve Bank of India, and the article also gives you a very beautiful understanding into what digital currency is and what is the difference between a central bank digital currency and maybe a cryptocurrency. Okay, so the article tells you that a central bank digital currency, for example, if we look at India, is only a digital form of the Indian rupee. Okay, it is a digital form of Indian rupee. Like, for example, we can have our wallets, and this digital form of Indian currency can be added into that wallet, and India could have a direct trade payments through this digital wallet that India has. Okay, and because it is a central bank backed digital currency, so a digital rupee will be as good as the legal tender paper currency that is in circulation in the country. The difference between a central bank digital currency and cryptocurrency is simply this, that a central bank digital currency is as good as a legal tender, as good as the money in circulation as recognized by the central bank, whereas a cryptocurrency is not something that the central bank of the country has come up with or is looking into its circulation, etc. So they have given it here that CBDCs are legal tender issued by central bank entirely in digital form. In India, for example, the RBI has been issuing e-rupee. Okay, this currency works as a normal rupee, but in a digital form. All right, and they differ from private cryptocurrencies because private cryptocurrencies are decentralized, meaning that they are not owned by the government-owned entities. Okay, so this gives you a good insight into it. They've also, at the end of it, talked about what are the risks of it. So the risks naturally are that anybody who goes against the whims and fancies of the US president is threatened by tariffs. Okay, so 50% tariffs are already there on India. Now, under the BRICS chairmanship, if India pitches into saying that it is going to be India's idea, because RBI has directed India to undertake or pitch in this entire idea. So there are chances that we might actually invite additional tariffs from the US president for doing so. Okay. Then the next article, this is a very simple article. I just included this today. It comes in the Indian Express, and every Sunday P. Chidambaram does write an article on it. And why has he undertaken this article? That he's just drawn a basic, eye to certain things which he feels. Now he belongs to the Congress party, so naturally he will never come up in support of the present government. He does have a critical eye towards the policies, programs that the government undertakes, and this article is also a critical article where he's criticizing various initiatives that the government has undertaken, and he says that everything that the government in the last year did do, and last year 2025, he's saying that Dr. Panagria, who is the present chairperson of the 16th Finance Commission, he said that 2025 will go down in the history as year of economic reforms for India. And he says that whatever they are doing in terms of economic reforms actually are not going to bring about any concerted change in the Indian economy. So he's drawn certain things like the reduction and simplification of the GST rates. So like last year in August, 15th of August, the Prime Minister did announce that GST, who previously, when it was launched in 2017, had a total of 5 tax slabs: 0, 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%. So this 5 tax slab GST has now been reduced to a 3 tax slab GST: 0%, 5%, and 12%. Okay, 0, 5, and 12. And also an additional 0, 5, and 18%. And also an additional tax slab of 40% has been introduced for luxury goods. So he's saying that the government, if the government has done this, the government has only corrected the original sin that they had undertaken in 2017. Then again, he said that whatever rationalization of import, export, or custom duties that the government has taken, again, the government has only corrected its previous folly of imposing rampant tax duties. Then also, again, he's drawn an entire focus on the labor laws, that the government has brought up new labor laws because the entire labor structure in the country was very, very flawed. Then again, he's talking about the enactment of BBG Ramji, जिसको इन्होंने unpronounceable बोला है, that the name itself is such a mouthful that you can't, it just does not come out in one go. Like Manrega and then BBG Ramji. So naturally too many syllables, which is pretty, I feel very intelligent that he's brought it up. So he's again saying that that is also far from any reform. They've just continued with whatever there was and given it into various categories. All right. So like they have changed certain things from Manrega to in BBG Ramji. Like under Manrega, you had 100 days of guaranteed work. Under BBG Ramji, you now have 125 days of guaranteed work. Under Manrega, you had only the central government that was paying the expenses. Under BBG Ramji, it is a shared expense between the central government and the state government. All right. So he's actually given a good critical analysis of everything that the government in terms of the economic front or economic reforms had done last year. So you can absolutely go through this. It is a fun article. Just, it is just going to hone your analytical abilities. Okay, the next one, what lies behind Trump's Greenland move? Now, this just gives you an editorial take, a better understanding into why Donald Trump has undertaken his entire expedition on Greenland. Okay, so it does say that what did he actually do when it came? What did he actually do for in terms of taking over Greenland? So it was in news because he did say that all the countries, especially the European Union countries, who are standing in support of Denmark's view that Denmark is not going to give over Greenland, he threatened that these 8 countries specifically are going to be slapped with high tariffs. All right. So 10% tariffs he had actually imposed on all the goods that were coming in from the European Union. And then he further threatened to increase it to 25% on 1st of June. Then they also give you an understanding on why does Greenland matter to US. So they've said, they've answered this question in the sense that Greenland is a very resource-rich country. There is a great probability that it will have it can have maybe good quantities of oil reserves, etc., if it is explored well. The second thing, one is that it is resource rich. The second thing that Donald Trump has stated as a reason is that that there is significant influence of China and Russia in the Greenland region, that they're expanding their intelligence in this particular region, which could be a significant threat to US security. Also, he says that Greenland is protected under NATO. If it would not have been for NATO, Greenland till now would have been taken over by Russia or any other country. Then also they've mentioned a US-Denmark Pact of 1951, which said that any security threat to the Arctic territory could legally trigger the USA's option to broaden its military presence. Okay, so there was a treaty between USA and Denmark in 1951, and under the treaty they did say that if there was any security threat to Greenland, then or anything significant military presence in Greenland, then maybe USA could intervene with military interventions. Okay, they've mentioned that there are around 24 to 25 to or 25 critical raw materials that can be found in Greenland. So what because of all of these reasons, he wants his stake in Greenland. Then what about the latest agreement on the sidelines of Davos? Mark Rutte of NATO did announce this, that there is a framework for a future deal with respect to Greenland. Again, we don't know the insights or the details about it, but it was announced by them. Okay, so they've given you a basic understanding as to why Trump wants Greenland, and then what are the prospects of Greenland for America, and then the legal backings as to it, and everything that had happened in the past 1 week in terms of Greenland, NATO, EU, and US developments. Then again, just somebody else's viewpoint on Pax Silica. So Pax Silica, a beautiful article on the Hindu just a few days back, where they gave a basic understanding as to what Pax Silica is. So Pax Silica, the term is derived from a Latin word, and where Pax means for peace and silica basically implies the basic raw material for manufacturing of semiconductors. Okay? So Pax Silica simply implies that anything that a peaceful organization of countries who are going to put in their heads and brains as to the manufacturing of semiconductors and furthering the global supply chains. So this basically again gives you an idea that it was signed by 9 countries, brought into existence by Donald Trump on 12th of December. 9 countries have signed it. There were non-signatory participants as well. They've basically drawn your attention to the fact that manufacturing of semiconductors is a very important part of today's global supply chains. And they've said that US wants to reduce the dependency of the Western countries on Southeast Asian countries and Eastern Asian countries like Taiwan, Singapore, etc. South Korea, when it comes to chip manufacturing and semiconductor manufacturing. All right, and also because Taiwan comes under the claims of China, so naturally there is this entire upheaval in relations between US and China. So US again feels threatened and feels semiconductor wise very, very insecure when it comes to increased dependence on country like Taiwan. Okay, and India right now is not a part of Pax Silica, and mostly all the countries who are much advanced in terms of semiconductors and AI are a part of it. So India right now is not a part of Pax Silica, but if India does get to join it, so India would be one of the developing countries to be a part of it. Okay, all right. Then quickly looking into news in brief and terminologies. All right, now this was one news that around 150 carcasses or dead bodies of olive ridley turtles washed up the shore of Andhra Pradesh. Now, why did I take this up? Because you need to know a little bit about olive ridleys. What are olive ridleys? Olive ridleys are a turtle species, and the speciality of this turtle species is that from the month of October, November till around next year, February, etc., April, May, sorry, till next year, April, May, these olive ridley turtles, they come in massive numbers for nesting. Nesting in the sense for breeding, for giving birth to babies in Odisha and Andhra Pradesh, where in Odisha, they are the nesting, the beaches like the Rishikulya beach, the Gahir Matha beaches, they are all shut down for tourists only so that these olive ridley turtles could undertake nesting of their eggs. All right. To give protection to the olive ridley turtles, the Indian Coast Guards since 1980s have been undertaking Operation Olivia. Okay, Operation Olivia to ensure uh, uh, good conditions for nesting and breeding of the olive ridley turtles. And these olive ridley turtles are under the IUCN. They are vulnerable. IUCN में vulnerable है. Sites में they are in Appendix 1, and also Wildlife Protection Act. They are in Schedule 1. Okay, so just keep this information in mind for the olive ridley turtles. Okay, then this was one news piece where I wanted to flag the term or the phrase new silver economy for you all. Okay, now new silver economy simply implies aging population. Okay, now you all know that we are just beginning with our census exercise, and we will be getting our data next year. But last year there was a report which was the United Nations Population Report. This United Nations Population Report said that India's population is 1.42 billion. All right. And they also said that India's population is going to peak in 2016 to 2060 to around 2060. Okay. Now, this particular, and right now India's population, majority of the population is in the working age category. That is between the age group of 15 to 59. All right. But this article now says that 22% of Kerala's people are will be above 60 years by 2060. That means that majority of the population, like a good percentage of the population, will no longer be in the working group, but they are going to form the dependent population group. Okay. Now, the problem here is that when majority of the people in the country fall in the working group category, then naturally there is good addition to the country's economic growth. And if majority of the population, they fall under the dependent category, that is less than 15 years of age or more than 59 years of age, then the working group is burdened and there is less addition to the country's income and GDP. So this silver economy simply implies silver draws its connection to gray hair or silver hair. So as you age, your hair turns silver and gray. So new silver economy here simply implies that there is going to be an increase in the dependent population in the country. Silver economy, old age people in the country. All right. The same report that I was mentioning, the United Nations Population Report, it also said that there are certain countries which are suffering from aging population, the highest being in Japan, South Korea and Italy. Okay, so just keep the term in mind. The next here, okay, was the news is forward block. Now this news piece is a continuation from 23rd, 24th, yesterday only. I did not take it up yesterday because I did not find it important enough. So in yesterday's newspaper, the daughter of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had asked the government to make certain efforts to bring back the mortal remains or ashes of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, which are kept in Tokyo. Okay. And this person here, G. Devarajan, he is right now a member of the forward bloc, and he said that let us refrain from bringing back Netaji's ashes. Now, you don't need to remember all this piece of news. What do you need to remember or keep in mind is the forward bloc. I just wanted to flag forward bloc for you. That is why I picked it up. So, forward bloc was an organization, political organization, which was established by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose from Unnao, Lucknow, and he established this because in 1939, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had resigned or was forced to resign as from the presidentship of the Indian National Congress. Now, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was elected as the president of the Indian National Congress for 2 sessions, Haripura and Tripuri. Haripura and Tripuri. Now, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had a radical outlook, which was much different from that of Mahatma Gandhi. So, one session he did take under his presidentship, 1939, for the Tripuri session. It is Tripuri, sorry, not Tripura. For a Tripuri session, he was again elected. During this particular session, Mahatma Gandhi had a candidate, Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. Okay, Pattabhi Sitaramaiah had lost, and Mahatma Gandhi said that it was not Pattabhi Sitaramaiah's loss, but it was his personal loss. So Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose felt bad over it, and he resigned not only from the presidentship of the Tripuri session, but also from the Indian National Congress itself. Then this session was presided over by Rajendra Prasad, okay, who was our first president also. So 1939, the forward bloc, and after resignation, he went ahead and he formed his own political party, which was the forward bloc. Then it was in 1941-42 that he left India to go and garner support for the Indian independence cause from outside, specifically Britain's enemies like Russia, Germany, and eventually Japan. Okay. All right. Then coming to the next piece of news, just keep in mind that 2-3 days back, there was another news piece which talked about a particular tableau that was supposed to be, showcased on the Republic Day. Now, another one has been brought in where that tableau was the government tableau 2-3 days back, where they said that they are going to also showcase a tableau on 150 years of Vande Mataram. The Home Ministry has said that Home Ministry is also going to showcase the new criminal laws in Home Ministry's tableau. So the new criminal laws, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam on Republic Day. Okay, 77th Republic Day. These new laws were brought in 2020. Last year they've completed 5 years. Okay, all right. The last piece of news for today. Again, not important. I just wanted to flag the term landslide for you, that what a landslide is. A landslide is a geographical event which implies massive mass movement of rock, debris, and earth down a mountain slope. So, any particular mountain slope, solid chunk of rocks, land, etc., when they start rolling down a mountain slope, this is known as a landslide. Okay, so just keep the term in mind. All right, Java has been hit with a massive landslide where 88 people have lost their lives. All right, so that is all in today's session of Roznama. I hope you had as much fun as I did while taking this, and I'll see you in the next one soon. All right, tomorrow is also the official launch of our detailed Roznama, so please stay tuned for that. Okay, thank you so much.